Okay, it's live now. All good. Thank you, Andrea. And yes, I just heard that there is, everything's gonna end on time. So I will try to be prompt. But then again, if you have any questions, so what's gonna happen is that because there's another event happening after this. But if you hop over to my LinkedIn, I think I'll do some Q&A over there live. So the Zoom room will end, but you can continue on my LinkedIn. So where to get my LinkedIn, you can just pop over to, let me see if I have.
I can get the link for you if it's okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah, if you can get it for me, it would be great. Or you can just head over to maverickfood.com. There's a place that you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Yeah, so we can continue the Q&A over there. For those of you who want to join, yes, typo, hi all. Yes, I was looking for Ali actually. Okay, so with that, hey, let's start. So for those of you who don't have the workbook or the worksheet yet, you know what? I'm just going to type it in for you. You can head over there and get your workbook and your worksheet. There's like about 3 or 4 worksheets that you can work on. And after that, and like I said, any questions that you have, just pop over to LinkedIn after this. I think I will answer the questions there. Those of you who are on Facebook, just do a shout out as well, because I can actually monitor your the feed. So I can actually monitor the feed as well. So wherever you are from, just like I see Noel, thanks for the test. Just type in the on your socials where you are. I'm not on YouTube yet, but if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can just type in the comment. I'll be able to capture here. But I think the fastest would probably be at LinkedIn. So just head over to LinkedIn would be great. Okay, good. Now let's just start officially. Yes. Okay, so crafting attractive, authentic, and action-driven posts with the A.U.R.A copywriting framework. So I probably just spare you the introduction because I think more important is the value that you're going to get. So what's going to happen is that if you go to live internet stats right now, if you go right now, you will notice that there are tons and tons of internet activity happening. In the live internet users, you are one of them. The number of Google searches, the number of video views, number of tweets, Facebook users, probably is close to 2.6 billion already. So what happens here is that a lot of people are definitely on social media. The problem though is that there's going to be a lot of noise. So I think all of you have heard this proverb before: empty vessels make the most noise. So what happens is that because of all this activity that we see online, we tend to basically follow, and we also want to, generate some noise as well. So that's what most people do. They go online, and then what they do is that my friend's posting a case study, I think I'll post it as well. Oh, you know what? Andrea is actually doing a summit. I'll do a summit as well. So there's going to be a lot of noise happening, but those with a bit better copywriting skills, which is what we're going to talk about in a bit, they'll end up generating attraction, which is great. So if you generate attraction, that's great as well. But the greatest marketers, I think they are the ones who generate demand. Now, attraction could be you just post a video about a cat playing a piano. Okay, that generates attraction, but that doesn't really generate demand other than the entertainment value that it has. But when it comes to business, when we talk about generating demand, it means that people actually want what you have to offer. So for today, we're gonna spend more time to talk about attraction. You know what? If there's time, I will probably give you a quick framework on how to generate demands. Okay, I'm sorry about the background noise. What happens is that I'm living in a war zone. So as odd as people say that the Malaysia economy is bad, but somehow the kids around my neighborhood, they have the money to buy firecrackers. Yes, so consider that. Yes, correct. Yes, started since last night actually. Too bad the cops are not here yet. Good. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to generate attraction. But if you have time, if we have time, if let's say we have to end the session earlier, if you pop over to my LinkedIn live will still continue to run. Then we will have some time to talk about generate demand. Okay. Yeah, in respect for time. Okay, so a couple of mental model shifts that we need to go through. There's 5. So if you look at page 6, there are a couple of places that you can write it down. Always remember this: attention is the new currency. $1.7 trillion was spent last year. I don't know about this year, but 1.7 trillion US was spent purely on advertising alone. So you can imagine all the big brands are trying to get the human attention, right? So which currently makes it the most expensive thing in the world right now. Now, if you do not have $1.7 trillion like me, okay, which means that we need to be a bit smarter to basically kind of like find other ways to capture attention. It doesn't change the fact that it is the new currency. Now, a lot of times people ask, hey, Maverick, so if you ask me to post stuff, right, will it be humble bragging? Okay, I'm pretty sure you have seen a post like this on your socials before. Someone put a photo of their watch. And then after that, a nice photo could be a Rolex, could be a Patek Philippe. And then basically they'll say client late again. Well, at least I get to journal on my on my B hack while waiting. Hashtag blessed life, hashtag $1 million client, hashtag never stop hustling. Pain in the ass, right? So according to a few Harvard research on this one, we basically categorize people in this category as humble braggers. So they don't brag 100%, but they kind of brag a bit as well. Those of you who have actually seen a humble bragger on any socials, if you can just type humble brag. So that's a new word. You can go and Google after that. So humble brag is, or some will call it social peacocking as well. Okay, but here's the thing. If you do not post anything at all for the fear of, being a humble bragger, then you won't be getting any attention, right? So if you stay towards the end, I will show you my version. I can take the same photo. So we can use the same photo by using the A.U.R.A method. We're going to use it to create not just attraction. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be Maverick. It's going to be me. By the same time, you are going to get response as well. So the reason why we put together this workshop, big thanks to Andrea and the Global Empowerment Hub as well, is because there are these 3 common challenges that we want to address. So a lot of times when you go online and we try to post something, especially those, the humble braggers, the bragging ones that I showed you earlier, you feel your posts are not you. It's like when you go online and you write something, you're like, it's just uncomfortable. So it's like the dog with, with the balls of wool over here. Usually the cats are the ones who are playing it. So how do you make it authentic? So that's number 1. The second common challenge would be your social posts are being drowned out by others. So if you go to Facebook, you go to Instagram, you go to LinkedIn, you see tons and tons of posts, everyone just fighting for attention, right? And because all of us don't have $1.7 trillion as well. So that's why we are posting random stuff. So the moment you post something and you just get pushed down, especially if you're on Twitter or Instagram, where the activity is a lot higher. And then number 3, your content are not getting any responses. So when I designed this 50-minute workshop, the main idea is I kind of want to address these 3 issues over here. And those of you who have been to any of my sessions before, we don't only talk about the problems. We don't only talk about the common challenges. Obviously, there are 3 desired outcomes that all of us want to achieve as well. So which means that instead of creating posts that is not natural, creating posts that's not you, how can you make it not just a happy dog, but your social posts project your persona and communicate who you really are. So that in a way is the closest definition to being authentic. So that if a person were to meet you off social media, okay, which means that they meet you face to face, they realize that, oh my God, you're like so similar. Your on stage and off stage persona is the same. So how do you project that? So that's number 1. And number 2, instead of being drowned out, how can I give you a structure? How can I give you a structure that can stop the scroll so that people will actually pay attention for a couple of seconds first before they click and they respond to your post? And then number 3, instead of not getting any responses, how do you start conversations and then they start messaging you on the site, which leads the prospect down the sales funnel. So these are the 3 shifts that we're going to look at tonight in the short time that we have. Normally I will ask like, who are the, which one do you want to address most? But you know what? Any questions that you have, if you can type it down, you know, with the Q in front, I think Andrea will help me kind of bring it up as well. But if not, if let's say there's no time, you can also bring the question to the LinkedIn Live as well. So when we talk about being authentic posts, here's my mom, by the way. So this is how I used to look like in my previous life when I used to have hair. I can't remember how old I am, probably 20 something. So this is my mom, probably one of the biggest, I think the biggest influence in my life right as of now. But if you look at the post, so it's the post. Oh yeah, she's very stylish. She's probably yes, very stylish. But you won't be able to see the colostomy bag that she has right there. So she was a cancer survivor. Cancer was the one who kind of took her life the second time around. So if you notice this post itself, there is actually a certain structure to it. Okay, there's a certain structure to it, and if you look at the comment, if I can find the post, I'll share it later. But you realize that sometimes people will message me on the site as well and say that, hey, thanks for sharing about your mom. This is my dad's photo and stuff like this. So we want to create that. So we want to create those type of interactions where not only they kind of like give you a like. For me, liking doesn't mean much because it takes a couple of seconds just for someone to like, I think less than a second. But if they were to put in comments, so like for example, this post, I get like 44 comments, so that's pretty good as well. But it's the conversations that you get to start. So how do you create a post like this? The structure is what we're going to talk to you in another half an hour's time. Okay, but first thing first, you kind of need to pinpoint your personality first. Because if you want to project your persona, you need to know who you are, right? So another mental model shift that we're going to look at right now is that always remember this. Human behavior offline and online is the same. Birds of the feather flocks together. So which means that you go to social media to look for people who are similar to you. Like I see a couple of coaches over here. You probably can you can chat really well with coaches. I see some culture like Janet, for example, who have done culture work. So you realize that another person who has done culture work before, you can kind of click really well, or a client or a corporate client who believes in culture. You realize that, oh man, the moment both of you get on the phone, WhatsApp will have to terminate your call after 2 hours because you just don't talk nonstop. So what we're going to do is that I've created a list, a very short list over here of the common interests that most people have. But if you are interested in the full list, let me put it here in the Zoom chat for those of you who are on LinkedIn as well. If you go to this list over here, you will see Wikipedia's version of the whole list of interests. Now, if you go through the list, you realize a couple of things are things that you like. So, and that's what I want you to do. Go to page 8 on the first column under personal interest, write down a couple of things that you are interested in. Like, for example, for me, I'm interested in entrepreneurship. I'm interested in psychology, interested in life hacks, big nerd when it comes to presentation and marketing technology. And my son, he's actually homeschooled. So reinventing education is also something that he's interested in. So I'm going to give you a quick 60 seconds to do this. And I'm going to go back to the previous slide. So you can have a look at what are the top. If you already know without referencing this, is even better because, come on, guys, it's basically your interests. I think you already know what your interests are. Just write down what are your interests over here. If you want to share them on the Zoom or live chat, feel free as well. Let me play you some music while you do that. And it's your interest, not your customers or your prospects' interest. Okay, So right now, so those are some of the topics that you need to start posting about, okay? Because if I were to ask you to post about something that your clients are interested in, you're going to have a hard time because those are things that you're not naturally interested in. So always start with yourself if you want to keep that authenticness. Now, let's look at this for a while. If you look at this metaphor, so from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, obviously there's a bridge across this valley. From the left-hand side is a stranger. From the right-hand side is a prospect. Now, whatever tinkering with things, swimming, yes, thanks, Rajuna. Okay, so what is the connector that is in between? Because you will realize that, man, it's actually quite a huge gap. If you think about the last prospect that you have, and you work backwards, they weren't interested yet, and then you work backwards again, they were like, they were just observing you on social media, and prior to that, you could have passed each other on the street, and you wouldn't even know each other, right? So so it's actually a huge gap. So if you ask me, what's the easiest way when it comes to social media marketing to bring a stranger to a prospect, the focus should be friend. Make friends with your potential customers. Now, as I said potential, it doesn't mean that they will actually buy from you, but just become a good friend. Because another psychological principle that we all need to have, that we need to know when it comes to any form of online marketing is this: friends support friends. During the last 3 lockdowns, especially in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure you have a friend who started baking stuff at home. Could be mooncakes, could be puffs, could be anything. You bought some, didn't taste that good, but you decided to, oh, okay. Cool. What was I saying? Okay. Yeah, so you decided to buy something to support a friend. And when you bought again, your family members will ask, hey, how come you're still buying that particular thing? It's not even that nice. Well, it's because you would say stuff like, oh, 朋友嘛, 朋友嘛, just support friend lah, just support friend first lah. Why? Because friends support friends. This is something that is ingrained in us since day one. And always remember, your clients don't go to social media to buy stuff, period. They go there to explore. They go there to be entertained. They go there to be engaged, but they don't go there to buy stuff. Because if I really want to buy stuff, I will go to Amazon, I'll go to Shopee, I'll go to Lazada, wherever you are. I won't go to Facebook to buy something. I go to Facebook for entertainment or because the world is sport. So they want to interact with people. So what we need to do right now is that you always have to understand the philosophy. Birds of the feather flocks together, one. And second, friends support friends. So where you need to start looking within, you will realize that all of us have certain behaviors. Okay, let's say, for example, you went out to buy food with a friend. Okay, with a housemate, for example. You bought your food because you decided to do some social distancing, you decided to eat at home, and then on the way back, Meenakshi, you have something that you want to share? Meenakshi? Andrea, if you can, if you don't mind.
Sorry, I muted it. I just didn't find who was it.
Okay, good. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, now where was I? Correct. So if you were with your friend buying food, driving on the way back, and then suddenly your friend, your husband says, hey, stop, wait. Sorry, can you make a U-turn, please? And then you're like, what? Why? Emergency, something happened. Say, oh, no, because just now I bought that packet of my lunch. It was for $9.90. I gave the guy $10. He didn't give me back my 10 cents. And you're like, dude, are you serious? Like we are like, we have gone for easily 5 to 10 minutes and it's only 10 cents. And then your friend, your husband will say that, hey, no, please, can you just turn back? I really have to get it because, hey, come on, man, it's about principles because that guy owed me 10 cents. And you look at your friend and say, bro, can I just give you the 10 cents and we continue back because I ain't going to go back all the way. And your housemate say, no, it's principles, man. It's all about being fair because the price is $9.90. That guy owed me 10 cents. I don't want your money. It's not about a charity. I need to get back my 10 cents. And you'll be like, oh, seriously, that's like a shame, right? So some of us may have friends or even relatives, I hope not spouses like this, but why? Because they have certain behaviors. but the behaviors are motivated by the software that they run in the head. And the software, we call them beliefs. And you've heard of beliefs like that before. And just now, your housemate just said, oh no, it's a matter of fairness. It's a matter of principle. I don't want charity. I want that 10 cents because he owed me that 10 cents. Because those beliefs are motivated by his values. And if you listen to the conversation closely, the value that was communicated earlier was like principle, fairness, integrity, or you're not going to be fair and stuff like this. Now, all of us have values that determine our beliefs that also project our behavior. Now, when you go to social media, you will bring along your behavior as well. So how do you engineer something that is authentic? You basically have to start talking about your beliefs. You have to start talking about your values. Your posts that you create, if you want to be authentic, it has to be around values and beliefs. But here's the thing, you cannot mention it. You cannot basically say stuff like, hey, I value integrity and blah, 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 blah. Then it doesn't make sense. It's like a bank telling you that, hey, trust us, we have integrity as our number one value. Now, that's kind of stupid because the fact that I put money in the bank, it kind of shows that you already have integrity. That's why we have this whole conversation. As a matter of fact, if you deliberately have to tell me that you value integrity, is probably a bank that I don't want to bank with. Now, what we're going to do right now is that I'm going to show you a list. Okay, but I think most of you are coaches and trainers over here. You probably know your values way better than me as well. So you notice a couple of words over here: family, creativity, curiosity, knowledge, explosions, fireworks. Pick at least 5. What are the 5 inner values that is those words that are closest to you? Like in my case, I will value growth, I value gratitude, I value clarity, optimism, and simplicity. So what are your top 5 words? I'm going to give you another 1 minute to do this as well. Rapid workshop over here. Just pick 5 that you personally resonate with. And there's no right or wrong answer over here. Those are your values. But these are the pillars of for the posts that you're going to create in a bit. Ten seconds left. Okay, cool. And now the last part. So once you already know your values, what's next? So the third would be, we already talked about your values. The next one will be your beliefs. So what are your beliefs? Again, if you take some time to fill this out. Now, this will take some time, okay? Because the beliefs that you have usually come as common sense to you. Because it's so common sense to you, you don't think that it's a belief. But the truth is, it actually is. Like, for example, in my case, one of the beliefs that I have is that the day you stop growing is the day you start dying. So at the start, last time I would say, hey man, because if you don't stop, if you don't continue learning, you're going to die. And I assume that everyone actually believe the same, but it's not true. You and I know that there are some people who are either fixed mindset or growth mindset, right? So this is a belief that I have. So a quick way to know what beliefs you have: talk to your spouses, talk to the people who are closest to you. What do you nag about most of the time? Because you probably repeat this a couple of times in a day, in a week, in a month. So people closest to you who hangs around you a lot, they are the ones who are probably the closest when it comes to identifying your beliefs. Like another beliefs that I have, you have 2 choices every day. It's either you let the world change you or you change the world. And those of you who have followed me on LinkedIn, you will realize that anytime when I put a comment, I will share a belief as well. And I say comment, I actually go to other people's posts and I will actually leave a comment there. A lot of people will actually ask, Maverick, how come you just don't, most people will just put stuff like looking good, awesome post, thanks for the reminder. Kind of lame, right? Because it's like, because you heard somewhere that, oh, you have to put something in, but you don't want to put a like, and you don't know what to write so long. The best is have a set of beliefs that you have. If you want to know what's my hack to coming up with comments, I have a list of all the beliefs, all the quotes that I have. I quote a lot from John Maxwell as well, all the stories I have. Anytime when a post trigger a thought, I will leave it in the comments. So that's one hack that I kind of didn't include in the session today. But if you write down your beliefs, it's a lot easier for you to connect with people and for them to actually connect with you as well. So I'm going to give you another 60 seconds to do this, while you write down 5 of your top beliefs.
We need your voice back, Maverick.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you already filled this up. Now, why this is important? Because all the posts that you're going to create, later using the structure I'm going to share with you, you have to kind of like weave all these little things in. For example, if you value clarity, like me, for example, just go to Google and basically just search for a story on clarity, or maybe you have a couple of stories about clarity itself, and that is the post that you're going to do. Why? You use the post to project your values. You use your post to project your beliefs. Anytime you're stuck, you don't know what to post, go back to your interest. So this is, in a way, a very basic core pillar that you can use if you want to create something that's authentic. So always remember this: when someone were to meet you face to face, okay, what's the persona that you want? What's the impression that you want to give to them? Offline and also online. Okay, so another mental model to shift: if you want to focus a lot of starting conversations on social media, you want to start, instead of just focusing too much on sales, start conversations before conversions. So the purpose of social media is that, well, the keyword is already there, right? Social media. Media means you're supposed to post something, whether it's a comment or it's a post or video or something. But social means that you go there to interact. People go there to interact. It's not called selling media. It's called social media because people go there to interact with each other. Now that you know roughly what you want to post, you already know the pillars, which is your values, your beliefs, and also your interests. Now let's look at the A.U.R.A copywriting framework. Now this one is just a way for you to structure your posts to get maximum attention. Okay, if you can structure your post in a certain way, you'll be able to capture the maximum attention, and then people will click either see more or they will read more. Now, this is an example of an A.U.R.A post. I lost 15 kgs in 2 weeks by eating 1 potato a day. I started this year at 98, blah, blah, blah. There's a couple of stories there, to entertain. And then after that, it reminds me that if you have a strong will, if you're curious to know more about my potato diet, comment potato, and I'll share the exact steps I took. Okay, so we're going to break down how this post came about. Okay, how do you structure a post like this? And if you're up for it, what we can do right now together, we can actually draft a post right now for yourself. Please don't copy mine, obviously. It has to be authentic, right? It has to be your post. Draft a social media post using the A.U.R.A copywriting framework. And if you go to page 10, I kind of break up the 4 areas for you. So it's a lot easier for you. But of course, end of the day, you're supposed to piece these 4 together. Now, if you're ready, let's just start with the first part. Now, your job is to stop scrolls. which means that when someone is scrolling their phone, you have to stop it. And the first thing you need to do is to either play a very loud firecracker or attract their attention. Okay, so you have to use something catchy, a headline, and I give you 3 ways to start. Option 1, you use a question. Because question enrolls people. Most of you are coaches over here or facilitators. You know that usually instead of just giving a statement, giving them instructions, if you structure it in the question, like for example, do you want to know what rich people do that poor people don't? So that is a way for you to attract attention using the question method. And then number 2, you can use a statistic. Okay, like for example, 7 out of 10 Malaysians cannot fork out 1,000 ringgit even for emergencies. So that's statistic. Okay, anytime when you quote a number or a fact or a figure, people are like, whoa, okay, I didn't know it's actually that bad. And another copywriting tip, some of you have heard me say this before. Yes, some of you would think that instead of saying 7 out of 10, why not you just say 70%? Okay, because whenever you say something like 70%, yes, of course, I know my math really well. 70% and 7 out of 10, it means the same thing. But in the sense of copywriting, 70% is exclusive languaging, which means that nobody wants to be the statistic. They will look at this 70% and say, no, I don't think it's me. I don't think I'm the 70%. Okay, but when you say 7 out of 10, what happens in their head? They will start picturing 10 people and they will start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit, man, there's actually, I'm the 7th person. Oh my God. So that is called inclusive. Okay, so yes, it's a bit longer, but that's something that you can do, just a little tweak. Just remember percentages. Most people can't even do 50%. Okay, so make it as easy. So instead of saying 50%, you say 1 out of 2, or you say half. Half of Malaysia's population cannot spell. Okay, obviously they can. Okay, option 3, you can use a statement. For example, something bold, you may have been eating the wrong way your entire life. Most people will be like, man, I want to know what is it. For example, another one would be 3 things you must do in SS2 before you die. So that is also another statement as well. So like the one that I use, I lost 15 kgs in 2 weeks by eating 1 potato a day. So that's a statement. So now that's the first one, because the first thing we need to do is to attract their attention first. So once you already get them to stop. Now, this is very important, especially on LinkedIn, because on LinkedIn, you will notice that you will only see the first 1, 2, or 3 lines of the post. And then they need to click see more, and then they see the whole stuff, right? So you either use a question, you use a statistic, or you use a statement. So those 3, yes, there are other ways to basically start it, but these are the easiest way to stop scrolls. Now, the second thing is you go to you. So now you unfold your story, because remember, you want the post to be authentic. Okay, so you have to share a story. Now, it doesn't always have to be yours, but of course, if it's your own experience, it's the best. But if you can say that, hey, you know what, this is what happened to my client, change the name, Mr. Lee. And basically, you just talk about Mr. Lee's story. So people enjoy that as well. And a few short sentences will do. A lot of people will ask that when it comes to copywriting, should I write long? Should I write short? My answer is always don't be long-winded, but write as long as you need to drive the message across. If you can tell it in 100 words, then just put in 100 words. If you need to have 1,000-word article to articulate your thoughts, then just make it 1,000. But do not be long-winded. Long-winded means that you could have ended the post at 100 words, but you drag for another 900 words. Now, that one's being long-winded. Okay, so there has to be a difference between the two. And then try to link it to your values and your beliefs. You can say something like, hey, that's the reason why I believe in this, or that's what my mom taught me about what and what and what. So it always relates back to your pillar, because that's what is going to help you connect with someone. Because remember, mental model shift number 2, birds of the feather flocks together. So a lot of times your audiences, they may not know their values, but when they read the story, it hits them somewhere. It's like, man, that resonates with me. We use words like this, man, that resonates with me. That movie is so about me. Okay, so why? Because the values and the beliefs are the same. Sometimes you watch a movie, Star Wars, for example. and you realize that, man, I can resonate with Luke Skywalker, or some of you may resonate with Darth Vader. Why? Because if you study the character behind it, it's because of the values and belief that connects you. Same thing when you read the book. So you need to create that effect because it's deep down rooted in our psychology. People like people who are like themselves. Birds of the feather flocks together. If you are struggling to basically start here, these are a couple of ways you can start. It's like, hey, that was what my mentor told me. And then you go on to basically start the story. So that's what happened to me. And you went on to start. So these are just little lubricants. After you put the A, after you attract their attention, sometimes we don't know how to continue. It's like you shouted, hey, look here. And then people start looking at you and you don't know how to continue. So these are a few ways of what we call lubricants between the paragraphs. So like in my case, what I did was that I start with unfold my story. So I started this year at blah, 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 how much, for a period of how much, I was trying mono diet, I picked potatoes, that's it. Okay, so the photo obviously had to be about potato, but it could be me, myself with my new pants as well. So this is the U part. You unfold your story, bring it back to your values, bring it back to your beliefs. And then after that, at the R part, R is for you to recap the key point because you told a story. First, you attracted them, and then you tell them a story. So obviously, there's some point, there's some lesson to be taken from the story, right? If not, it's just like, oh, okay, it's a good story. But if you can trigger some thoughts, if you can expand their mindset, say, hey, I never look at that like that from that angle before. Okay, so you can summarize your story into one key takeaway. So, like for example, if you read certain books, John Maxwell is famous for doing this. So at the end of every chapter, he will summarize the main points. Okay, so you can do something similar. After all the story, what's the most important thing? It can also be the ending of your story. So as you go through, as you unfold your story, you don't talk about the ending yet, but you talk about the ending when you recap the key point, like a punchline. Okay. Oh, okay. And give your audience something impactful so they can remember you and your story. Because when you hit them at a belief that both of you share, so sometimes people will say, hey, I agree with you. I think this is something that more people should be talking about, stuff like that. And that's how you know you hit a chord already. Okay, and that's how rapport is built. That's how rapport is built. So, like for example, then I wrap it up with this. I recap was dropping from 38 to 32 is just a bonus because it trained my mind to be stronger. So why? It goes back to my value of growth. Remember? So it's not so much about me losing the weight or the waistline. It's about growth. It's about mindset. It reminds me that with a strong will, everything else is made possible. So about optimism as well. So A.U.R. And then now we move on to the last part. At the end of every post, you have entertained them. It could be 15 seconds. It could be for 1 minute. They watch your video or anything. Please ask for one thing. Because a lot of times, they don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I've read Janet's post. It's interesting. Okay, next. Because she didn't tell me what to do, right? So how do you ask for one thing? And there's a structure to this as well. This is a copywriting structure within a copywriting structure. Anytime when you want your audience to do something, especially if you can't do it verbally, which means you want to do it in writing. So you break it down to these 3 parts. Part 1, you identify. Part 2, you must qualify the identification. And then after that, you tell them what's the action. Now I'm going to give you an example. So for example, I will say something like, if you have a friend, identify, if you have a friend who suffers from weight loss issues, qualify, tag their name. Okay, you know what? For that post, better not tag their name. It's very embarrassing, right? Share this video with them. Okay, please use common sense as well. Most people won't. Yeah, so if you have a friend who you suspect is having an affair, share this video with them. If you know a colleague who is suffering from, work from home syndrome, comment their name below. Okay, so just play around with the action. Now, why this work? Because since day one, that is how your parents drill instructions into you. Hey, Agnes, if you do well in your upcoming exam and you score 5 A's, mommy's gonna get you a puppy. Hey, Andrew, if you do well in school and stay off drugs, sorry, just kidding, Andrew, mommy's gonna buy you a Nintendo Switch. Okay, so if and qualify, identify, qualify, and then tell them what is the action. Okay, so like in my case, what I did was that, hey, if you're curious to know more about my potato, so I basically identify as you what? Identify, the qualify would be what, curious to know more about my potato diet, comment potato, and I'll share the exact steps I took. Now, this is the last A. So this is how you use the A.U.R.A method, A-U-R-A, attract the attention, unfold the story within the beliefs that you have and the values that you have. You can even talk about your interests as well. Like this one also talks about my interests. Why? If you remember, my interest number 4 was life hacks. So always create a post that you have multiple angles for you to continue the conversation from, or for other people to start. So some people will comment, hey, Maverick, I'm actually interested in life hacking as well, man. Can you do this with broccoli? So then you can start a conversation, authentic conversation. That's one. And some people say, hey, Maverick, man, I totally agree. It has nothing to do with the diet, with the weight loss. I think it's more about our strong willpower. Then I basically connect with them on the belief or the values. Now I can give you a couple of examples. Okay. Would you guys want the slides in any case? Okay, if you want the slides, can you just, I don't know, you can either message Andrea or you can jump over to the LinkedIn Live later and I'll kind of put something together for you, or just drop me a message. Yeah, then you can see the post in action, right? So I'll give you a couple more. So because I've worked with a lot of insurance agents, so this is a statement start. You don't need medical insurance as long as you have life policies. So this is a statement start. So people will be curious, huh? Really? Do I not need medical insurance? So they will click. And then when they click, they will go to the next one. And then I tell about my story. That was a mistake my mom made, blah, 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 tell a bit of her story. And then I recap. That made me realize that when it comes to planning, it's critical to spend some time to go through the details. Again, clarity. It talks about my value, talks about my mom, who start with chemo. And then the last part, the A. Okay, good. Hey, Kevin, yes. Okay, if you're unsure what's the difference between life and medical policies, PM me, I'll send you a comparison chart. Again, A-U-R-A. Now, the danger of running workshops like this. Moving forward, when you see my post, you'll be like, I caught Maverick using the A.U.R.A. Okay, it's not just me. And this is not other people who probably use the same method as well. But the next time you realize that when you read a post, hey, that's very catchy. I want to do something. Please leave a comment and do whatever you need to do first, but go back and analyze it. And then you realize that there's the A-U-R-A method over there. Give you another example. So there are days when I feel the journey is long, despite the effort I've been put in. So this one is the option 4 method, which you start with a mini story. Because if you realize, I just start the statement hanging. Okay, so that's another way if you want to start the any post. And then after that, I go into the unfold the story, talk about the story again. And then after that, talk about a recap. In this one, I actually brought in what my mentor told me as a recap point. And then after that, this is usually on the Friday post. And then I'll start tagging all the people who made a difference in my life for that week. So this is like my gratitude post on Friday, because guess what? Gratitude is also one of my beliefs as well. And just post that I show you about my mom, same. Ma has always been a staunch Buddhist. She was disciplined, patient, and wise. So that is basically the statement start that I needed. Unfold the story, talk about the recap, and then after that, ask for one thing. So you can try to ask for a sale. Or you can ask them to PM you on the site. I think it's a lot easier. Or just ask them to comment. Because if you remember just now, my mission was to help you generate attraction, not generate demand. Now, you want to know how to generate demand. If you have time, we'll talk about it on the LinkedIn Live. But this is a quick overview of A.U.R.A. So now you know how to structure. Why I created this format was because a lot of times when you know you need to do some posting, you open up your Facebook or your LinkedIn, what to write? Okay, Maverick say must write about my belief. Okay, I value family. Okay, I'm going to talk about family. But how should I start? So the reason why I created A.U.R.A. over here is that now you just fill in the blanks. You just fill in the blanks and you create a post that attracts attention, that projects who you are, and very important, it starts conversation. Now, talk about this post. So if you look at a post like this, and then you realize that, just braggy and stuff like this, but some of you, your business may require you to show off a bit of your success, right? Now, how can I use the A.U.R.A method to make this post into not so much about myself from the bragging part, but creates conversations? So I will do something like this. I'll post the same photo. Even if I don't have a Rolex, probably I'll take one from my business partner, for example, take a photo, and then basically I'll say something like this. People always ask me why I wear a Rolex watch. Kind of stating the obvious, right? I already have the watch on my hand. So I start with that statement. Then after that, when my dad started his business 40 years ago, we were poor. We couldn't afford more than 5 ringgit a meal, my mom, myself, and my dad. But every time he walked past the watch shop, he would stand there, he would look at the casing of the rows of Rolex watches over there. He knew he couldn't afford it at that time, but he set a goal. When his business hit 1 million, his reward will be, he will buy one of the Rolex watches. And that's the reason why I wear my Rolex watch, because it reminds me to be determined. It reminds me to be ambitious. It reminds me to be persistent in my goals. So that's the R. And the last A. What is something that you wear every day that reminds you to be a better person? A.U. So you realize that it's actually not so much the watch anymore. It's actually the story. And you post something like this, I guarantee you won't get as much likes. You have to let go of that. But some people will comment on the site and say stuff like, man, my mom gave me this Mont Blanc pen, and every time when I have a big client, I just have to take it out and sign it. I have this special underwear that I wear whenever I'm meeting the Prime Minister. I don't know. They will start sharing stuff on the site. Okay. But the key purpose over here, if you remember point number 4, is always to start conversations. Put conversions on the site first. And friends support friends. So you go to social media to make friends, right? Now, the last thing the last mental model, because 5 is a good number, always remember the A.U.R.A method that you just learned just now. Yes, you can use it to get sales. And I've tried and it has worked. But when it comes to social media, don't forget, it's called social media. It's not selling media. So perhaps if I can interest you, switch from promoting to positioning. How can you use the A.U.R.A method that I showed you just now? How can you use it to position yourself? So those of you who are familiar with the Z marketing system that I have, basically these are all the different parts over here. If you go to my website, maverickfu.com, you can watch an 8-minute video on it. But what I've just covered just now, the A.U.R.A copywriting method, falls under a brand booster. Why is this called a brand booster? You project your persona. People buy people first. And what you're going to do is that I think looking for prospects are fun, but don't look at them as a prospect at the start. Maybe it's fun to basically look at them as a friend first. Even if they don't buy from you, you walk away with a friend. So I hope with the A.U.R.A copywriting framework, you'll be able to create posts that is interesting. Okay, cool. Hey, quite on time as well, right? Okay. Yes,
perfect, Maverick. We have one question that you can still answer, and then after we can see the second one if it fits. So the first question is, if I have tried the values and beliefs posts, yet less engagement, does that mean I am connecting with the wrong people that do not share the same values and beliefs?
So, okay, so those of you who are looking for the question, it's actually here. Oh, that's really big. Okay, so if I track the values and belief posts, yet less engagement, yes, could be that. The people you will attract, you will repel people. So with the values that you post, that's why we talk about being vocal and stuff like this. Because you're sharing something that's a bit uncommon, people get a bit uncomfortable with it, right? So what you can do is that you can actually, yes, you could be mixing with the wrong people, but you know what, Shin? Try this method again. Try the A.U.R.A method again and see where it gets you. If really it still doesn't get you any post, then yes, the fish or the person, the audience, could not be the right one. Okay, so could not be the right one, just move on. But sometimes it's the format and the structure as well, because it didn't catch the attention. The A wasn't there, the first A wasn't there. So that's why they didn't have the chance to interact. Okay, good. Yes, the wordsmith. You were saying that there's another question, or should I take it here, or?
No, we can take one more question. If anyone, the fastest person typing in a question wins one answer.
Okay. I got 2 minutes before you go off, right? Yeah. But for those of you who wants to continue any Q&A that you want to ask, I will go to LinkedIn for another 5 more minutes because Andrea had to go off, and we can take the questions over there as well.
Okay, let me see. All right, I think they're just commenting on how they like it.
Thank you.
So, amazing session as always. I love the interactivity as everyone else is loving it. You're very good storyteller. Thank you very much, Maverick. And thank you for all the people who are supporting you. I guess you brought your tribe. So thank you for your tribe for being here and supporting you. I really appreciate it. And if any of your tribe would like to benefit from the summit, the videos are still up at the YouTube channel. So you feel free to join in and watch them. We will still have 3 more days of full of sessions. So if you're interested in any topics around the Wheel of Life and becoming empowered, then please join us. And thank you very much, Maverick. And if you want to head over to the LinkedIn, let me just put one more time.
I can put the link over. Yeah,
yes, I put it up, but I will put it one more time so that it's a little bit lower. Let's go here. Yes, here you go. So you can head over to Maverick's LinkedIn, and then you can just join him there.
Join me in the so for those of you on Facebook, you can just head over to LinkedIn as well. And yes, Andrea, thanks for arranging this. And for those of you, if you are not there, the other room is okay, no offense. Just going there to make it really light. But yes, thank you for everyone. Take care, stay home, stay safe, stay away from SS2 because I think there's a war zone going on. Dogs and cats are all over the place.
Yes, okay. I just want to say hi to Adele, Agnes, Andrew, Caroline, Christian, James, Daniel, Edward, Jack, Janet, Jayaraman, Kelvin, Kerry, Kevin, KK, hi KK, Kileo, Kaitan, Lee, Leong, Miki, hi Miki, Arasan, Rajuna, Robert, Sherry, Shintan, Simfong, Sunny. Simfong is almost there at every single session. Dewi, Xinhui, and Zeon. Thank you very much for joining in. Hope I didn't miss anyone.
Okay, good night. Stay home, stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.